Well, hello and welcome to Season 3 of the Humpty Doo save. Why has it taken so long? Well, to be honest, I spent some time in hospital and the recovery from the surgery took a good 2 months to get right. Apart from that, work at my job piled up in my absence, so I've been playing catch up for a long time now. It's good to finally come back to this save, and we have finally made it into FM24. Having achieved the double in Season 2, the boys were looking to get promoted once more this year. Their job was made slightly easier as they only had the Central West Premiership and the FFA Cup to worry about, as they'd moved on from being eligible for the Coca-Cola Cup due to their promotion. With success, however, comes the inevitable loss of players to higher divisions and higher rated teams. This year is no exception, of course, but it offers a good challenge for the remaining players to step up and perform, and the purchasing of new players to fill the void. So looking at the draw for this season, you can see very early on we've got a game against St George City in the first round of the Australia Cup. For those who remember Season 1, Regis was one of our better players, and he actually went to Bangor but has returned to us on loan this year. In sadder news, Josh Barton has decided to leave us for the Melbourne Knights, and we wish him well. At the present time, our finances are looking quite healthy there with a $2.7 million bank balance. But don't forget, we have some pretty expensive players on our payroll, and that might come back and haunt us later on in this year. And looking at the team for our first serious game of the season, the Round 1 FFA Cup game against St George City. We see a few familiar names there, Dick Meister, Giorgio, but also a new name there. Ben Alcazar is a new player for us, and he's our captain today in the absence of Barry Bannerman. Also, one of our local juniors, Angelo Monti, has actually come through and will be starting today. But you can notice that we have lost the services of the boy that can't be named, who's gone to the Gold Coast Knights. But up front, we still have a pretty good combination there in Brutalise and Pierce Doff. So getting back to Fuckboy, the boy that can't be named, the Doff brothers had a pretty amusing end of season gift to give the departing player, basically declaring him an honorary Doff brother, considering that Fuck Doff probably had an appropriate ring to it since he was leaving for the Gold Coast Knights. In the game against St George, we found a very even contest early on before the boys really put their foot down there. It was a good start to the year, and really pleasing to see the new boy Angelo Monti scoring his first goal for the club. It was also really good to see relative newcomer Brutalise actually get on the goal sheet really early, remembering that the boy that can't be named did leave us, so we needed to make sure that there were people to step up. Now, Brutalise had a decent second half of last season, but he's also started well in this season with a couple of goals. And also his partner in crime, Pierce Doff, doing brilliantly as well. And this game was actually a really good hit out for the boys. St George did actually manage to get a late goal, which is actually pretty impressive. Probably matched Monty's goal in all seriousness. But they were no match for us, and that was a really good start to the season for us. It's always good to start off the Knockout Cups very well, because it's probably going to be our biggest revenue stream for the season, and remembering we have a pretty big wage bill. So in round 2 of the FFA Cup, we drew North Geelong Warriors, who are in a competition that is slightly higher than us. So that should be a good game, but I think that it's a home game for us, and I think we should do well. A couple of new signings to the club. Jack McRae van Lingen was a very good pickup for us. He can play multiple positions, and looking forward to seeing how he does. We also bought Clabertini as a reserve goalkeeper. This turned out to be probably our biggest mistake of this season with respect to how much money we paid for him, only to loan him straight back to his club. So it was probably my worst decision, I would suspect, in this current save. We also are able to get the services of Randy Watson, a winger, remembering that we have lost a few wingers over the last couple of seasons, and we just need to make sure that we can cover that position. And to further bolster that position, we have Doug Skundar coming to us, and I'm sure that he will make a great difference to the club. From Alperurum, who you'll remember from our first season, back all the way back then. And preparing for our first competition game of the season, we are be playing the Indigenous All-Stars. It's good to see Fisher back in goals there, Giorgio again, and then Benalcazar again, once again being the captain. Not too many changes there, but the new boy, McRae Van Lingen, on the bench there, as well as a few other favourites, Nick Doff and Gollum Saggers as well. So once again, we started well in this game there. Early goal there to Simbuki, who is another player that we could be losing at the end of the year. There's a bit of interest around for him at the moment. Hopefully we can keep him for the remainder of the season. So early goal for him, and then Giorgio doubled our lead there with a beautiful penalty. Very reliable penalty kicker, Giorgio. Unfortunately for Nikos, he is going to have some injury problems this season, and a bit of a spoiler alert, but we will lose him at the end of the season. He's going to go to Balsfridi. Monty gets his second goal of the season in this game, and we never really troubled in this game, but Indigenous All-Stars did put up a bit more of a fight. There's Pissed Off was a goal scorer as well, who we kind of expect that from him. He had a big year last year, but a 4-0 win there. Now, one of the things that we did discover on the completion of this game is that we had a 4-goal difference, and yet we were down in 4th position, and painfully it was made aware that the database has a bug in it, and that is about the for and against is not being used as a tiebreaker. So it's gone alphabetical order, hence Adelaide Hills and Ashfield City being on top after one round. Another purchase in the name of Giovanni Farinazzo. Again, he's going to be bolstering our midfield and our attacking midfielding positions there. And then Ray Gunn, and this is no relation. You'll know that Ray Gunn was a member of the Marble World Universe long before that despicable woman did that terrible dance in the Olympics. So there is no correlation there whatsoever. But again, he is an attacking midfielder just to bolster that position as well. It does mean that people like Cleveland Steam are going to probably be a little bit more hard pressed to get a Guernsey this year. So just looking at our buy-ins, obviously we got Regis Queefer on loan there. Yeah, Ciabattini has come in, but look at that fee, 63k I paid, and he does not see the light of day. So players that we lost: Email Scammer, Tosser Kokoff, Fleaballs, Fuckboy, Bill Wilkins. Chris Twardek didn't get a lot of a run with us. Josh Barton left us just at the beginning. Now, the rest of the players there are players sitting in our reserves or our 21 side, and they do need the loan experience. Hazwan Sulkafti has actually played for us before, and I suspect he'll come back into the game a little bit later this year. So in round 2 of the Foodland Central West Premiership, we hosted Ashfield FC at Fanny Bay Oval. Good to see Barry Banman back wearing the captain's armband there. Also, our new signing McRae Van Lingen is going to get a start, as well as the new boy from our juniors, Angelo Monti, getting another run. Pissed Off's brother Nick has actually joined Brutalise up front, and we've got Ray Gunn, our new signing, on the bench. This game was a highly entertaining fixture, with both sides showing their attacking flair. Simbuki, despite having his detractors before the game, was the first to score for Humpty Doo. The next goal saw some pretty good build-up play from the Humpty Doo boys. Also a telling through ball from our new boy Angelo Monti. Then set the ball rolling in the opposition's half, and then Simbuki with a beautiful cross to Brutalise to score goal number 2. Ashfield soon clawed their way back to 2-1 through a penalty from Yevtich, who beat Fisher easily to put the ball in the back of the net. So it was game on. Early in the second half, Humpty Doo once again beat the goalkeeper to take it to 3-1 with some good build-up play before Foster finally putting it in the net. Once again, however, Ashfield hit back with some pretty flary play of their own, and Lawrence Sharuma was to put the ball in the net, so that actually made it 3-2. And they weren't going away, they were showing a lot of spirit and fight. Jesse Foster was once again very instrumental in Humpty Doo's next goal. making a jinking run through the midfield on the right side before putting a beautiful cross into Brutalise to make it 4-2, and just to give a bit more breathing space to Humpty Doo. Humpty Doo started to find the ascendancy and gain some momentum. Gollum Saggers made a beautiful run down the left wing, and he crossed it in, and Pierce's brother Nick was able to put his first goal on the board, and that gave him a lot of confidence going into the subsequent rounds. And just when Humpty Doo thought they had this game sewn up, another bit of brilliance from Yevtich, this time from the edge of the box, slammed it in there, and Fisher had no chance. So it went to 5-3, and they were hanging in. Despite the rally from Ashfield though, the Humpty Doo boys just seemed to have a little bit more, and they were once again able to increase their lead through a goal from Lucky Bolger. Lucky has not seen a lot of game time. He's just on the periphery of this team, but he might have to move on to find more opportunities. And the last goal for Ashfield was scored by Michael Clunan to ease out this game. Very highly entertaining 6-4 win to the Humpty Doo boys, but they would be slightly disappointed with their defence in this game. In round 2 of the Tim Cahill FFA Cup, Humpty Doo hosted North Geelong Warriors. Good to see Dick Meister back in the goals there. Giorgio back for Bannerman, which means that Ben Alcazar is actually wearing the captain's armband today. Ray Gunn also gets his first start, and Pierstoff comes in for his brother. The opening goal saw Nikos Giorgio, the corner specialist from Humpty Doo, putting a beautiful cross in, and Brutalise putting the ball away. He's pretty good on the old head, Brutalise. And shortly after that, Brutalise demonstrated without a doubt why he is one of the most dangerous players in the air, as a beautiful cross from Saggers finds his head, and goal number 2 is quickly scored. In the second half, Humpty Doo pretty well continued on from their dominant first half display by putting in another goal from the newcomer Ray Gunn, his second goal of the season already. And once again, the Saggers Brutalise combination comes good to get Brutalise his third goal of the game and to take the score to an unassailable 5-0 lead. And that is the way the game finished. So looking at the early fixtures, it's a lot of green there, which is really pleasing to see. We've won our way through to the Australia Cup third round, which we will be looking at very shortly. After the North Geelong win, the team were playing with high confidence and a lot of flair and skill, but they did actually start to come a cropper, and they played Canning City and had a 2-2 draw, and then they went down to Eastern United, very disappointingly considering that Eastern United are down in the relegation positions at the moment. In the Eastern United game, we were pretty well FM'd out of this game, 17 shots to 7, 6 on target to 3, XG of 1.47 to 0.97, and yet we still lost the game 2-1. It was 1-1 until Regis Queefer had to be subbed off, and that actually left us with a player short for the remaining 13 plus minutes of the game, and then Bladen was able to get the goal winner for Eastern United. But yeah, very disappointing for the boys, but again they will be disappointed with their defence as well. In the Canning City game, the draw I think was the fair result there. We had a very similar XG, very similar number of shots on target, and it was just that we went to a 2-0 early lead and blew that lead, where I think the disappointment comes in there. We had Doff up the front on his own this time, and he was really not able to perform at his best there. So disappointing, and it was really the start of that 2-game run where we were dropping points. And so after 7 rounds, Enfield City are actually leading the competition, remembering they came up with us at the end of last year. So the top 2 teams are the teams that were promoted into this division. So Humpty Doo very keen to get back on track, hosted Port Pirie at Fanny Bay Oval. Fisher back in goal, Giorgio back on the right back position, meaning Ben Alcazar wearing the armband once again, and Pierstoff, injured at the moment, gives way to his brother Nick, and Brutalise up front. Ray Gunn is also starting as well. Eric Shen, a player we haven't seen much of this year, but he's a very good player for the club. He's going to be starting as well. And it's so good to see that Simbuki has a fan in Isabella Shitface. Really good to see the fans getting involved on Twitter. And bolstered from that lovely unswerving support from Isabella, Bookie makes a brilliant run down the left-hand side to ultimately set up the first goal of the game for Dildo Swaggins. So 1-0 very quickly. great run, and that was Dildo's first goal of the season. You can't keep Simbuki out of the game, it seems, and he was the instigator of the second goal. A beautiful corner, once again finding Brutalizer's head. I don't know anyone that gives better head than Brutalizer. That was brilliant. So 2-0. And once again, the third goal was indirectly from another set piece. Obviously, the ball bouncing back after the original corner. And the man himself, Simbuki, once again puts the ball in the back of the net himself this time. You can't keep the good man down, and you definitely can't keep this boy out of the game. And in the second half, it was Humpty Doo to continue on with their dominance of this match. Great to see Eric Shen with a nice big run down the right. Ultimately, it is Ray Gunn getting his 6th goal of the season, but some brilliant build-up play from the boys. After dominating the play for quite some time, the goal that Port Pirie scored was against the run of play, but it was good lead-up work by them, and then Graham Softcock Wood was able to put the ball in the back of the net. But Alcazar put any thoughts of a comeback for Port Pirie on ice very soon afterwards by icing a very clinical penalty. And the next goal was a beautiful goal right from the back, and Eric Shen prominent again running down that right wing before the ball goes into the box there, and Nick Doff gets his 4th goal of the season. New boy Farinazzo had a bit to play in the next goal there, but it was Eric Shen who'd set up a couple of goals for other people, finally got his opportunity to stand proud and put one away himself. And that's the way the match ended, 7-1, very emphatic win there. And really good to see that you actually had 7 different goal scorers as well. So very much a team effort, that game. So we are on top at the moment, but Enfield do have a game in hand with us, as do Mount Barker. We've been pretty lucky with the draws with respect to Tim Cahill, and once again we are able to host Noosa Lions at home. So that's going to be very good for us. Dick Meister back in the goals for the team. Bannerman with the armband once again. Interestingly enough, Lucky Bolger and Nick Doff up front in this game. So we've got a few good players on the bench there just in case, I think. But the boys are pretty confident. Good to see Monty in there as well as the new boy Farinazzo. The boys started the scoring very well, starting from the back there before a beautiful through ball by Hyman Shocker found Nick Doff, and ultimately he was able to find Cleveland Steamer. Steamer not always on the field there. He's pretty well on the periphery of this team, but he always takes his opportunities when he's out there. Hyman Shocker was instrumental in the second goal as well in the second half there. Crossed it over and found Eric Shen standing tall and proud there to head the ball in. Apart from Brutalize, Eric Shen is probably one of our best players in the air. So an excellent cross and an excellent goal. And just to put the icing on the cake, it's Eric Shen standing tall once again, dominating in the air, putting the ball in the back of the net and icing a 3-0 comfortable win. Very clinical display by the boys. So the boys have won through to the 4th round of the Australia Cup. I do believe this is probably as far as we've gone in this competition up until this point. Sad to see Ashfield go down to penalties to Nunawading City, but a good effort from them to get as far as they have. So 13 games into the season, and we do have a 4-point lead over Enfield City, although they do have a game in hand in us, so potentially only a 1-point lead there. But the boys are doing pretty well overall. In the game since our 3-0 win over Noosa Lions, we have won 5 straight. Some very emphatic wins there too. 9-2 Adelaide University, 5-2 Mount Barker. Now Mount Barker in the top 5, so that's a very convincing win there. Wanneroo 5-1 and then Northern Demons 5-0. So in our 4th round game, which we will actually cover in full, that will be against Bulleen Lions, and obviously we're going to also be playing Enfield City, who are currently 2nd. So the boys headed to Rushworth Reserve to take on Enfield City. Alexander Fisher back in goal there, Giorgio back at right back, and which means that Ben Alcazar is once again wearing the captain's armband. Regis Quifa, who we got from Bangor if you remember, is actually in the side today. He's had a bit of a run with injury this year, but he's actually doing quite well now. Ray Gunn is back as well, and the pairing of Brutalised and Pierced Off is once again on show. And it's Fisher from the back, putting it down the middle of the field there, finding Brutalised, and Brutalised very happy indeed that Pierced Off is once again his partner. Gives him the ball, and Pierce makes no mistake to take it to 1-0. Not to be outdone, Enfield do a short corner, and then it's Ben Carrigan from outside the box who absolutely drills it past Fisher. Equalise it 1-1. What an outstanding goal that was. And once again, it's that man Bookie who makes the decisive run down the left, and once again finding Pierced off, who gets his second goal for the game and his ninth for the season. An excellent play there by the boys. 2-1. And it was some great build-up play started by Tucker B there that actually led to the third goal and just gave us a bit of breathing space. Ray Gunn finished it off very nicely, so 3-1. And the fourth goal was started by an outstanding run by Regis Queefer. Jinking run, beating players left, right and centre before he crossed it to Bookie, and then Bookie expertly crossed it to Gunn, who ended up with a brace there. So 4-1, and the boys looking pretty comfortable. And that was how that game finished. So it actually gave us quite a bit of breathing space over Enfield City, although they still do have a game in hand. But a 6-point lead over Mount Barker, who have moved into second spot now. We definitely do have a psychological advantage over Enfield City now. That was a pretty emphatic win. So looking forward, I can't see us getting beaten in this competition, but you never know, things can change. Some disastrous news for the club with Nikos Georgiou going to be out for at least 3 to 4 months. He'll be sent to a specialist, but that's probably going to be the best part of his season over. Very, very tragic for the 27-year-old. So it is time for us to travel for the Tim Cahill FFA Cup. We're heading to David Barrow Stadium to take on FC Bulleen Lions. Now, we do have a few injuries that have really affected us, with Georgiou's injury and then also injuries to Bannerman. Means that Anthony Tucky is making his debut today. So he's a young fella, hasn't played for us before, so it's a bit of a baptism of fire for the young lad. Good to see the boys are pissed off and brutalised up front, just giving us a little bit more experience there. Eric Shen, who's had top form, playing well, as well as Ray Gunn being there. But we also have quite a bit of talent on the bench there, with Saggers nicked off there. Hyman Shocker, who we saw have a good game before, and one of the new boys, or both of the new boys actually, Farinazzo and Prey Van Lingen. And it's Bulleen with the corner with Paulik there, crossing it in there. It's defended well there by Brutalised there, but they still have the ball there. And it is well defended there by Dickmeister, but they still have a corner. So Bulleen with the corner, 10 minutes in. Paulik on the other side this time, crosses it in, and they've actually got the goal. Dalglish gets the goal, 1-0 to Bulleen after 10 minutes. Bit of a shock to the system for the boys there. There's Paulik again with the corner. And this time Dalglish hits the woodwork, but just as well for the Humpty Doo boys there, because Dickmeister had no idea about that one. And there's Paulik again with the corners. So they are doing really well on the corners there, although pissed off running down the field there. Doing really well, crosses it in there. There's Doff again. He finds Bookie. Bookie holding the ball up, waiting for someone to get into position there. It looks like, I thought that Doff was fouled there, but he gets away with it. There's Bookie there, and that is the goal for Brutalised, the equaliser. 1-1 after 24 minutes. Very timely goal there. Bulleen seemed to have the early running in this game, but yeah, looking good. Looks like Eric Shen's taken a bit of a knock too, which is a worry. But it's Shen now with the ball still on the field there, and there's Swaggins, but it's defended well there by Bulleen. There's Dalglish again, but intercepted there by Banks. Banks puts it through there, and there's Gunn, but it goes wide. Still 1-1, 30 minutes gone. 12 shots to 3, so Bulleen really winning the battle at the moment. And they're playing it out from the back there at the moment there, although Swaggins has got the ball there. There's Bookie, Gunn missing out there. There's Bookie again and crosses it in, and Mycock gets his second. Well done, Brutalised. So pretty well against the run of play. Humpty Doo up 2-1, 33 minutes gone. And there's Tucky, the new boy, Benalcazar there, Swaggins. And there's Gunn. Pushing it forward again, finds Pissed Off. Pissed Off has been defended well there, but we still have won the corner there. 38 minutes in, 2-1 Humpty Doo. Bookie with the corner. crosses it in there, and brutalised, hits the woodwork there. Benalcazar has the ball at the back though, crosses it in there, and there's pierced off, but Marco Giannakis does very well there. And then it's Bulleen on the attack there. Westerdale there, crosses it in there, and Paulik there, and it's hit the woodwork again, but Dickmeister didn't know too much about that. There's Bookie with the ball. Finds Gunn in the middle of the field there. Crosses it to Shen. Shen holding it up a little bit, trying to find Bookie. Not able to do so. And now we have a corner there in the second half. 54 minutes gone. There's Bookie. Chumafat in the box there. Has a shot, but goes wide. And there's Benalcazar from the back there. Finds Swaggins there, back to Benalcazar there. Puts a ball forward there. And there's Foster finding pierced off there. His 10th goal of the season. And 3-1, 68 minutes gone. So it's been 3 unanswered goals for Humpty Doo. Great effort there. There's Bookie to Gunn. Back to Banks there. There's Chumafat there. Farinazzo's there, but can't find the boys up front there. 75 minutes in there, and then Bulleen cross it in there. There's Paulik to Dalglish, and they just can't get that final ball in there. Good defence on the line there by the boys. There's Brutalised there with the ball, holds it up to Gunn, and there's Farinazzo there to Bookie. Bookie has another shot. He's defended well by the keeper. With the throw in now, kicks it in there, and the keeper does well for Bulleen there, puts it out to Dalglish. Dalglish has been his pass goes astray there, and Foster with the ball there for Humpty Doo, crosses it in, and it's picked up there by Marco Giannakis, the keeper. An excellent job there. He pushes it forward there. Bulleen on the attack there. Misamichi there. Crosses it in there, and he has found Letzi, but it goes over the net there. Dickmeister, I think, had it covered though in that case. Playing it out from the back there now. There is Shocker back to Benalcazar there. Chumafat with the ball at the back, so they're playing very patiently here. 80 minutes gone, 3-1, Humpty Doo. So 10 more minutes of regular time here. There's Foster with the ball, and it goes through to pierced off. It wasn't the cleanest pass, but we have got the ball in the end. Bookie, but a good defensive effort there from Bulleen there. There's Paulik there. Dalglish with the run. Holding the ball up slowly from Misamichi. And Misamichi out wide there, crossing it in there. And it is Letzi there. Matteo Letzi. 3-2 with 10 minutes to go or thereabouts. So they are back in the game. Dickmeister with the ball there. 89 minutes in. Bulleen on the attack once more. There's Tatsi there, holding it up, trying to find someone forward. And it's Letzi, and it's defended by Dickmeister, but I tell you what, that was very close. There's Benalcazar there. We have 3 more minutes of injury time left. Marco Giannakis from the back there, trying to get his attackers forward there. There's Letzi with the ball again, the last goal scorer. Misamichi's been dispossessed there, and Banks has actually done well to pick that up. But Tassi has the ball. That was a mistake there from Farinazzo there. Chumafat, excellent defence on the line though. Excellent job there. And a shot that goes above the bar there. And that is the game. 3-2 win. But Bulleen can feel unlucky there. Their XG far superior to ours, and their shots on goal far superior to ours as well. So we will take the win. It was an away win too, which is actually really impressive. So we've won through to the 5th round. Amazing effort from it by the boys there. And there's Bangor. Just seeing them, they've actually won 1-0 as well. But an excellent effort from the boys there. But if I'm Bulleen, I'm feeling a little bit disappointed. they did have the better of the game. So the finances that looked so good at the beginning of the season are starting to drop significantly. Our wage bill is a little higher than we need it to be, so I would say we're going to have to definitely offload some players at the end of this season, but we could well be in the red by the end of it. So looking now to see who we draw in the next round of the FFA Cup. Remember, we've made it to round 5, which is the round of 32 by the looks. ECU Joondalup, that's an interesting team to see there. They were a team that beat us in the first Coca-Cola Cup in our first season, but we were able to win that competition last year, so very good to see. Bangor have picked up against Souths United, interestingly enough, and Humpty Doo are going to be at home, but they're going to be playing either Perth Glory or Subiaco AFC, so obviously we want Subiaco to win that contest, but I would suggest we're probably going to end up playing Perth Glory. So 21 games into the competition. We are 6 points clear of Geraldton. They're the biggest shakers and movers of this competition, within 6 points of us at the moment. Enfield City still in 3rd place, and Mount Barker still in the top 5 there in 4th. Ashfield, one of those sides that we played early on, gave us a bit of a run for our money. They're currently in 5th spot. So looking at the fixtures list since we won that game against Bulleen Lions, pretty successful, although there is that big red dot there against Geraldton Smashers. I did actually comment on how they were big shakers and movers of the competition, and they did beat us 3-2. Despite that loss though, we didn't lose focus and we won our next 4 games after that, including an impressive 7-2 win over Adelaide Hills. We also continued our dominance over Enfield City, winning comfortably 4-1 once again. Just looking at that Geraldton game there, the 3-2 loss, you can see it was a very tight game. 18 shots to 19, 7 on target for them, 9 on target for us. They had the greater XG by 0.34 there. They completed more of their passes. We had a bit more possession, but we had our chances. Brutalised had a goal disallowed early, and then the significant point in the game was 2 penalties given away within 5 minutes there that really turned the game around, gave them a 3-1 lead, and then Brutalised just tried to even the score in the 79th minute, but we were unable to run them down. So congratulations to Geraldton, but I still think that we have enough to win this competition. It seems our greatest competition at the time is Geraldton, and we have already played them twice, so I can't see any other side beating us to the post. So the time has come for the Tim Cahill 5th round FFA Cup against Perth Glory. We are fortunate to be able to host those boys. Dickmeister in goals for Fisher, and Bannerman is wearing the armband once again. Regis Quifa, who George Kyprios is very happy to see in the side. Great to see the support there from George. And we have our usual boys up the front, Brutalised and Pissed Off up the front. Haswan Zulkafli is actually playing this game. He's someone that's been on loan. He's our junior, and he's actually qualified to play for Malaysia as well. So he's actually had some international experience. A little bit raw at the moment, and then we've also got Ray Gunn in there as well. And we will shortly go live to that game. It's Quifa now to Gunn there. There's Quifa again, making good inroads into the Perth defence there. Into the box now, crosses it in, and it is deflected over the bar. Promising work there from Quifa there. Bookie with the corner now. Crosses it in there, and it's defended pretty well there, although it looks like another corner for Humpty Doo. So Bookie again, preparing to cross in. He crosses in there nicely, and it's defended easily by the keeper, Austin. Now Perth with the ball at the back now, really struggling to get out of there, getting pressured quite well there, but they've managed not to clear it there. There's Gunn there with the ball, and then Pissed Off puts it back to Gunn. And there's Zulkafli, and he gets the goal. First goal of the season for him because he's been on loan. So 39 minutes, and it's Humpty Doo with the upset at the moment. 1-0 over Perth. Now we have a corner, and that's Perth equalising. 47th minute. So it was just a matter of time there. There's Long there with the ball there to Culfy there, but it's defended well by Banks. That's there. So it's not been a big game of highlights here, but we're looking pretty good at the moment. There's Brutalised, and the keeper's denied him. He really should have done better there. That was the game on the line, possibly. Quifa, though, still has the corner, preparing to cross it in. crosses it in nicely, but Austin, the keeper, does well there. McRae von Lingen's there. Zucafli again, the goal scorer. But now we are with a corner for Vokins, is it? From Perth. So 12 minutes plus injury time to go, and it's been headed over the bar there. There's Bannerman preparing for the throw in there. There's Doff there. Chuma Fat finds Zucafli again. Has had a pretty good game. There's Banks to Chuma Fat again. And there's Zucafli. And that's a poor touch from Queefer. He's given the ball back. And Perth on the attack now. And there's Sadler. And there's Khalifi there putting the goal in. There's a bit of an error of inevitability there once Queefer had that poor touch. But Zucafli with the corner. And Brutalizer's headed it over the bar. So we have had our chances in this game, but that is it. So Perth win 2-1 and we are out of the FFA Cup. But looking at those stats, the boys shouldn't be too disappointed. They actually were better on the XG, although they had fewer shots on goal. Probably some of the better opportunities that they didn't take, however. So despite the loss, we shouldn't be too disappointed by that result. Playing an A-League team after all, and we are significantly further down the pecking order than they are. And just looking at the results of the other games, all of those other sides pretty much are A-League teams. So we're in pretty good company there. Obviously, Dario Felching is not happy with the result, but I don't know what questions he wants Dick Splash to answer there. But we were just beaten by a better team on the day. After the disappointing loss to Perth Glory in the FFA Cup, the boys then hosted Enfield City at home, remembering that Enfield City were the side that actually came up with us and are currently a top 3 competitor. Bannerman once again wears the armband, remembering the horrific injury that has curtailed Giorgio's season this year. Dickmeister is in goal once more, and we also have McRae van Lingen actually starting today, as well as Shen and Shocker on the team list. So the boys started very brightly, and it was a beautiful long ball from that bitch that actually found Brutalize, and then he was able to cross it in and find Van Lingen, who actually picked up the goal. Some strong and patient build-up work saw Enfield City level the ledger after 6 minutes with a wonderful goal from Park, with some amazing lead-up work there. Excellent ball control shown by the Enfield boys, and they really did set that goal up nicely. Some excellent tenacity shown in this particular play. Eric Shen actually stood tall there and actually intercepted the ball, but it was that bitch again putting through the meaningful ball that allowed ultimately Nick Doff to actually score his 8th goal of the season and to break the deadlock. So in the second half, Humpty Doo were able to extend their lead to 3-1 with some great lead-up work by Dildo Swaggins, and then McRae van Lingen actually scoring his 2nd goal for the game. In the 83rd minute, a careless challenge by Chuma Fat saw a penalty given to the Enfield City boys to try and bring it back to 3-2 and keep them in the game. And they put the ball in the net without any real issues to bring it to 3-2 with 10 minutes to go. The Humpty Doo boys then fired into action pretty well straight away. Some excellent play from Nick Doff, making some ground down the left-hand side before putting a beautiful cross onto Brutalizer's head, and Brutalizer made no mistake, just showing everyone once again how good he is in the air. And that was the way that game stayed. So a competitive game from Enfield City, but a 4-2 result for us. In other games, Geraldton once again had a comfortable win over other top 5 side Mount Barker. So they've actually creating quite a comfortable little buffer for them in 2nd spot there. But again, there's only one automatic promotion, and then 2 to 5 will actually play off for the other spot to be promoted. Other top 5 team, Ashfield FC, will be very disappointed to have dropped points to Swan United, finishing 3-3 in that game. So those extra 2 points, although they wouldn't have pushed them up the table, would have just given them a bit more breathing space over teams like Margaret River and the Indigenous All-Stars. So with 12 rounds to go, we have a 6-point lead in the competition, and we have no more knockout competitions to worry about, so our sole focus can be winning the premiership. And that is ultimately what we ended up doing. Unfortunately, I miscalculated with my numbers and I missed out on being able to show you the game in which we officially got to walk across the stage and get our medals. But yes, nonetheless, we did actually win the premiership with 2 games remaining. And Dick Splash has at last staked his claim that he is one of the most successful Australian managers of all time. Very interesting accolade, that, considering I'm really down in the bottom tiers of Australian football at the moment, but I'll take it. And once again, looking at our transfers. First of all, let's cover the transfers out. Now, obviously, we've gone through a few of these before. Email Scammer, Tosser Cockoff, Flea Balls, the boy that can't be named, Bill Wilkins, Chris Twardek, and Josh Barton all left us before the season after having successful stays with the club, probably except for Chris Twardek, who really didn't get much of a run. Then a number of our players went out on loan, and then it's just the bottom few that are probably of interest to us now. The first one, obviously, Sim Bookie, who had a big season for us, has actually gone to Germany's Union Berlin. Cooper Harper, who's one of our juniors, he'll go on loan. And then Nikos Georgiou, who had that terrible injury, has been a great servant to the club, but Bales Frigdy showed interest in him, and he was in the last year of his contract, so he's actually left us on a free there. So we have brought in a couple of players since the Ray Gunn move. Pete Zoudergas, who we actually loaned back for a period of time. You can actually see his name there. And then we've got Heiser as well, who's actually joined us from Parramatta FC. I would expect our transfers in versus transfers out to look similar next year, but obviously I need to let go of some players and try and get a bit more money for them than we have been at the moment. And that's on me, because I wanted to get the value of the player rather than trying to sell them, because at this level we're not going to get too much for them in the trade anyway. And as predicted, our finances have fallen off the cliff, that partly because our wage budget is way too high, and then the other issue there is also the fact that we didn't have any competition money coming in after we were knocked out of the FFA. So again, we need to have players on the block, and we probably need to cut our losses, get rid of a few players, and use our squad far more wisely than we have been. Fortunately, there will be a few other competitions that we'll be competing for next year for a bit more prize money as well. So with 2 games remaining, we have a comfortable 10-point lead over Geraldton, who have already qualified, as have Enfield City and Mount Barker United. They've qualified for the playoffs. We are already crowned as champions. Margaret River have actually slipped into the 5 there, and the disappointment is that Ashfield have dropped from 4th or 5th place to 8, and they're in free fall at the moment. Interesting, just on the side there, you've got Johan Thibault from Geraldton with 34 goals, the leading goal scorer of the competition, and Ray Gunn out by 25 goals, which means that he's outdoing Brutalised and also Pissed Off. They've had much quieter seasons this year. And with the competition sewn up, we put in a rather pitiful performance against Vipers FC, losing 3-1. The only bright spot from that game was the goal from new boy Pete Zoudergas. But yeah, very disappointing performance from the boys. But again, nothing to play for. They're already through. And in the last game of the year, we had a 5-3 win in a very entertaining game. We never really looked troubled in that game. But once again, it was good to see Zoudergas on the score sheet there. Pissed Off actually scored, as well as Ray Gunn getting a brace, summing up a pretty amazing season for him. The win actually put Margaret River out of the 5 there, and Canning City took that last playoff spot. And it was time for the club awards. Brutalised was the fans player of the season with an average rating of 8.2. Also took out the young player of the season award. Ray Gunn, obviously the signing of the season, with an average rating of 7.9. Also scored the goal of the year against the Indigenous All-Stars. Finished with 28 goals for the season. And Eric Shen, the most assists, which is very impressive as well. And most player of the match awards also went to Ray Gunn. So he really took out the awards this year. Him and Brutalised were the 2 players. In the record breakers column, we've got Alexander Fisher, who has the record of 76 appearances for the club. The highest transfer fee paid, my biggest mistake of the save so far, to Chabatini, who has not played a game for us. And our oldest goal scorer there was Georgiou. Most passes completed for 90 minutes was Dildo Swaggins with 55. So that is a club record as well. Competition awards, the FFA Player of the Tournament also went to Brutalize, so that's a pretty great win considering we didn't get past the round of 32. And surprisingly enough, it was Enfield that once again got the opportunity to get promoted with us. So Geraldton falling at the last hurdle. 16 points clear of Enfield they were, but when it mattered, they weren't able to win through. And the Central West Player of the Year went unsurprisingly to Ray Gunn. Our signing of the year, the 19-year-old, has had a wonderful season. Also, really great to see Regis Kuiper polling second in that competition. 10 goals and 18 assists for the season. They both had wonderful seasons. And unsurprisingly, Johan Thibault from Geraldton, also 19 years old, managed to get the golden boot for the competition, scoring 37 goals, 10 more than Ray Gunn. So what an amazing season for that lad. And I'm sure that he was the main reason how Geraldton got into second spot in the first place. As we saw earlier, Ray Gunn got the Goal of the Year, and unsurprisingly, Dick Splash got the Manager of the Year with a win ratio of 85%, 22% higher than Brendan Turner from Enfield City. Good to see 4 of our players get selected in the Central West Premiership All-Stars. Dildo Swaggins, who we didn't actually cover much in this save, and there's Tucker B as well, Benalcazar, and then Fisher in goals. So a few players there that we didn't actually cover too much, but again, the formation there is a 4-4-2, and we actually play with a different formation, so that could be part of the reason. And some great news in the transfer market where Regis Kuiper, who was on loan to us from Bangor, has actually transferred to us permanently now, so we will have him for at least another season, which is awesome. And then we've got Wang Jian coming in from Adelaide United on a free as well. In sadder news, Nick Doff has done exactly that, gone to Germany to Braunschweig on a free. Gollum Sagas has also left the club to FC Metz. Cleveland Steamer has gone for a better opportunity at Sydney FC. He's actually been a good player for us when we've used him, but we haven't had the opportunity to use him enough. Too many good players in that position, so we wish him well. And then Haswan Sulkafli is actually going to Johor permanently. So there you have it. Season 3 is in the can now, so we look forward to Season 4. Thanks for your patience in waiting for this video. I know it's been a long time coming, but at least we're in FM24 now, so very happy about that and looking to continue that into Season 4. Not sure how I'm going to do the saves, whether I do it as a season review like this one, or whether I do a different format. We'll just wait and see how it turns out. But thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.